Good afternoon and welcome to The Upside. I'm Jonathan Oleski with JMOR, and this is our virtual show brought to you by the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore and JMOR to keep Jewish Baltimore informed during this time of uncertainty. If you would like to ask our guests questions today during the show, please type them into the Zoom chat or message us via JMOR's Facebook page. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our hosts. Beth Goldsmith, Chair of the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore, and Dr. Scott Rifkin, publisher of JMOR. Beth and Scott, take it away today.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, winter is coming and coronavirus cases are soaring. And once again, we're looking at the possibility of hunkering down at home. For our older adult population, considered more at risk for complications from COVID-19, the next few months may be difficult, with growing concerns about social isolation, food access, and more. Luckily, local organizations have anticipated what is about to come and have developed programs that will ensure our older community stays safe and connected. What can we expect and how are we helping local Baltimoreans? Our guests today will help us answer those questions. Scott?
Thank you, Beth. Thank you. Yeah, it is getting cold. I love your sweater, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful sweater. But you're definitely preparing me for the cold weather, reminding me it's coming. Anyhow, thank you, Beth. Today we're excited to welcome Tiffany Nicolette, who is the Vice President of Housing and Services at the Associated CHI, and Stephanie Archer-Smith, Executive Director at Meals on Wheels of Central Maryland. So as we get started, let me ask you each to sort of respond to the same question. Talk about, before we even get into what your organizations are doing to address the problem, why don't you spend a minute talking about the scope of the problem and how serious it is right now? So, maybe we should start with Tiffany, if you don't mind.
Sure, thanks for having me today. So the scope of the problem for older adults, our older adult clients, I don't even think that we can measure it yet. We know that what people's current needs are, that there's been a lot of food insecurity. We can expect that people will continue to feel lonely and isolated throughout the winter months. But I think that we're not going to see the full effects of COVID-19 until well after this. And I think that anxiety and that depression is really going to stay with our clients for some time. And, that's when we are really going to be able to see what the full scope of the issue is.
Very good. Very good. And Stephanie, if you wouldn't mind commenting a little bit on that.
Sure. I mean, as Nicolette said, as Tiffany said, I agree that we probably will not see the full scope of this until the pandemic has resolved. I mean, we know in normal times there are thousands of seniors who are food insecure. And so this pandemic has only exacerbated that. In addition, it has exacerbated other issues that we deal with on a regular basis in terms of having being homebound, and isolation is one of those key factors. One of the things that we are expecting that for people who may have not been homebound but for the pandemic, may lose other skills, lose mobility, lose the ability to, do their activities of daily living as successfully as they had before because they were more active. And so we're expecting that after the pandemic, we will still see an increase in need for home delivered meals for those folks.
How much has the need that you're addressing, in other words, the number of clients that have come to you, has that increased during the pandemic?
It has. It increased dramatically. Beginning in the middle of March, right after the governor's stay-at-home order, we saw a dramatic increase in the number of people requesting meals, and also requests from our partners that we work with in the health department and other offices on aging, that they needed help also because the senior centers were closing, and there were many people who used to get their meals at senior centers. So we actually saw a doubling of the number of people that we serve with home delivered meals. And if you add that to other meals then we supported our partners with, we actually tripled our meal delivery. So at our peak, we went from 25,000 meals a week to 77,000 meals a week.
That's pretty amazing. Beth?
Yeah, I'm going to jump right in. You spoke of partnering, and I know that the Associated helps fund Kosher Meals on Wheels. Can you speak a little to what is offered to our community members who rely on kosher food this winter?
Yes, so we do have a kosher meal program, and it is certified, so it is a supervised program. And we fortunately did not have to change our delivery model for that program because it's on a smaller scale. So we're very fortunate to be able to continue to do our kosher meals, continue our daily delivery. Most of those meals are delivered by 1 or 2 employees as opposed to a lot of different volunteers. So we felt confident that we could maintain safety through daily delivery, and we were basically able and still are able to deliver those meals on a daily basis, honor special holiday meals, and continue business as usual in that program.
Tiffany, do you want to weigh in on the partnering, particularly with Meals on Wheels for our Jewish adult population?
Sure. So we have many clients that use the Meals on Wheels service. And we also have partnerships with Eating Together in Baltimore, which provides kosher meals as well to clients that are all of our Weinberg Senior Living, affordable senior living communities have an Eating Together program, and they have switched their services a little. So instead of it being a congregate meal setting, they are providing some boxed meals to go, but it is kosher food that can be accessed at each one of our senior communities.
Great to hear. Scott?
Well, it's how about talk a little, and it would help me just to have some more background on the Meals on Wheels program. Talk to me about the nutritional side of this. Folks that are more isolated now than they were before the pandemic are probably not getting what they, if they before this they could go to the grocery store and pick out a wide breadth of types of food. Help me understand how you assess these folks to make sure they get the nutritional needs that they, that those get met. This is sort of my doctor hat getting put on.
Yeah, so nutrition is so important to health, and we learn more and more about that every day. We have a requirement to provide 2/3 of the daily RDA for people over 60. And so our meals are very carefully planned. So we plan menus well in advance. We make sure that they have all of the proper components on that menu. And when we had to switch from doing our daily delivery to doing frozen delivery, we made sure that the components that rounded out the nutritional value of that meal were included in the frozen box meals that we were sending. So every box contains 7 meals, 7 milks, fruit juice, fruit, whole wheat bread, and the meal itself has 3 pieces to it. There's a protein, a vegetable, and a side. So we're making sure that we're maintaining the nutritional balance that everyone needs, and also making sure that they're, the reason we provide the juice and the milk beyond the nutritional value is because we need to make sure they stay hydrated as well.
So I think I heard you right. You said you supply 60% of the caloric or the nutritional need.
2/3, yeah, for 2 meals. For 2 meals, yeah. So each meal has 1/3 of the RDA.
So what is the expectation that the client is also receiving some food in other ways? Because that's still only 2/3 of the need. So help me understand how we round that out.
It is. We can actually deliver more than one. We deliver more than 1 box, of course, to meet the 2 meals a day. And if there are additional food needs, we can help with that. But there are a lot of other food partners. So there's been a lot of work in the community with the Salvation Army, with the Maryland Food Bank, and other partners that are also providing supplemental food.
Okay, yeah, there would have to be, because otherwise people are going to come up short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think people are probably coming up short, particularly during this pandemic. I want to move beyond food for a moment and talk about the isolation. And I know this is a terrible problem and is only going to get worse now that people cannot really go outside comfortably. Tiffany, I'm going to start with you. Do you want to speak about what programs or what options there are to help people with this?
Sure. So there are a variety of options out right now. And as the pandemic has, we're what, 8 months now. So it's been a little while, and people have been able to catch up. So one of the things that I worked on, because we have the Edward A. Meyerberg Center, and a lot of their programming in person, and they're there working out and taking the art classes, and our Northwest Neighbors Connecting, again, it's all in person socialization. And when we had to stop that, we had to really pivot and think about how can we still engage the community and keep people active and connected during these times. So we moved a lot of our programming online. So the Meyerberg is totally online now. Northwest Neighbors Connecting, or NNC, also has been doing a fair amount of their programming online. And they've also found ways to connect beyond just being online, because not everyone's comfortable with technology. And so some of our NNC members, they have an art class. And so since they weren't able to meet as a group for art class, instead they made cards and sent it to people that were in the hospital, suffering from COVID. So it was like a way for them to kind of give back to the community and still stay engaged while not necessarily being in person.
Well, I know I'll go on. I know another thing that because we're all about neighborhoods, does or used to do, had to do with repairs and helping seniors with their homes. So I understand there is something called a Good Neighbor Day box. Will you talk to us about that, please?
Absolutely. So every year, High does a program called Good Neighbor Day, and we enlist volunteers from all over the community, and they come together, they grab some weatherization supplies, and they go out to the homes of our older adult clients, and they help them by putting the plastic up on their windows to minimize drafts, and just really winterizing their homes. So that they can have a safe and comfortable winter. And since we aren't able to safely do that this year, we decided that we would do a Good Neighbor Day in a box. It is a contactless delivery, and it is being delivered to our clients that are generally the ones that benefit from the Good Neighbor Day. The box includes a checklist that has like tips and tricks for weatherizing your home, simple things that people can do and to do them safely. It also has some supplies. So for example, one of the tips is making sure that you empty your garden hose and putting insulation over the hose bib. And so we included a little insulation that fits right over the hose bib. Putting in a handheld shaker that was full of ice melt so that people can spread it easily. And it's got the High marketing label on it and all of that, so that people can remember exactly where they got that. And so it's like a special gift. It makes them feel important. It makes them feel special. And it also makes them feel safe.
Tiffany, the folks who help with those kind of programs, are you using volunteers or those staff folks? And what I'm really leading to is a question of how the community can be of help to the programs that you're operating.
Sure. So the Good Neighbor Day is usually, it's run by both staff and volunteers. And some staff that is within the associated system that maybe doesn't work for High. They are also have been active in our Good Neighbor Day. And I think that there are a variety of ways that people who want to get involved with High or with other agencies of the Associated, or even beyond the Associated, just to help older adults in their community. So High is always looking for people that can maybe assist with our Northwest Neighbors Connecting. Often offers like tech assistance. So maybe it's somebody walking an older adult through how to check email or how to access Skype or something via the phone so that they can be more connected to their family. But it could be as simple as, you know, if your next door neighbor is older and not able to get to the store, just reaching out to them, you know, on your next trip to the store, or just sending a card or a letter, like something to make people feel special in the times when they are feeling so disconnected from the rest of the world, I think can really go a long way. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to take a ton of time, just simple grassroots efforts to really keep people connected and, you know, inspire the community.
I want to
Very
give
good.
Nicolette also, thanks Tiffany, a chance to weigh in on this because I believe you have home repair programs on your agenda as well.
We do actually, and I wanted to just speak to a different program first that we knew when we had to pivot to a weekly frozen meal delivery that we were sacrificing one of the things that makes Meals on Wheels more than a meal, which is that daily visit and that daily social interaction. So we started a wellness call program. We have volunteers that are calling our participants twice a week. They're calling to check on them, check on their safety, but also just to have a conversation with them. And that's been one of the ways that we're trying to address the social isolation. The home repair program, we do have a home repair and modification program, and that program really, it took us a little longer to pivot with that, but we have gotten that back up and running. We needed to make sure that we were confident that we could send our partners and our vendors into the homes to make those home repairs safely. And so we feel like we have enough PPE and enough knowledge now to be able to do that. So some of the things that we look at are weatherization, but also any kind of modification that makes them able to move through their home more safely. So it could be grab bars, or it could be slip mats, or it could be something that helps them get in and out of the tub or the shower more safely. So we're really focusing on home safety.
Talk about the role of volunteers within your organization as well, and where the opportunity. We have a couple of thousand people who watch this program, mostly on Facebook and YouTube, a little bit live with us right now on those venues and on the Zoom itself. But talk about where folks can be involved as volunteers.
So we do have a number of volunteer opportunities. We are still using volunteers to deliver meals, and we do need a lot of volunteers to help us with that. At our Kosher kitchen, we also use volunteers to pack the meals, and having volunteers come in to help us pack those meals is very helpful. We have a packing process now at our Haven Street office as well, because we're packing the frozen meals. So we're using packers there. We have a grocery shopping program, which I didn't mention, which also has doubled during this pandemic, where we pair volunteers with participants who need assistance at the grocery store. They don't take them to the store, but they actually shop for them. So we have opportunities to become a grocery shopper. So there are lots of ways to get involved, and of course to be a wellness call volunteer as well.
Very good. And Tiffany, some opportunities you can talk about for folks to volunteer. I know we mentioned it a little bit a minute ago, but specific programs they might be able to work with you on?
Sure. So we have the biggest need for volunteers, I think, right now would be with our Northwest Neighbors Connecting, or anything where we could have folks assisting with technology support, because I think that technology is really the tool that's going to keep everyone connected. A lot of pre-COVID, a lot of what we did was transportation, and we had a highway which was taking people to and from the grocery stores. But in order to maintain social distance and do so safely, we had to kind of pause that program. And so once we have a vaccine and we're able to kind of resume those things, those are some other volunteer opportunities that we would love to have people, because there was a huge need, but we did kind of see that die down a little bit. I would say that, just friendly calling as well. We always need assistance with friendly calls, and just making that grassroots connection with some of our clients is so important.
Very good. Very good. What else? You've got a nice forum here today. You get a decent audience. What else would you like the folks that watch this program to know about each of your organizations? What are their programs? What are the things they should know? What are their opportunities to support you? Obviously, donating to Associated is encouraged, but Meals on Wheels needs to raise money as well. So if you guys would each take a few minutes about what else you'd like this audience to hear. Maybe Tiffany, if you'd go first.
Sure. So HI does a variety of things. I mean, in addition to our senior home repair and benefits program, we have all the Weinberg senior living communities. We have Weinberg Park Assisted Living. We do home ownership and foreclosure counseling, and that's something, you know, that's right now the real estate market is pretty hot. So if you know of people that are looking to buy a home, you know, have them sign up for one of our our housing counseling programs. You know, there's just so much going on at HI that it's all aimed at strengthening our community and, you know, getting people to really love the neighborhood that they're living in. We have been doing a lot of our community development side of the organization has been doing food distributions at schools and finding ways to support the students to make sure that they're able to have access to the internet and, you know, benefit from the learning at home, because we all know that that's not exactly easy. But HI is really just doing so many things in the area, and you know, we would love to have people participate. Of course, we are supported by the Associated, and so I'll encourage donations to the Associated to assist, because we have been so received so much benefit from our partnership with the Associated throughout the pandemic.
Very good, very good. And Stephanie, if you would say a few words about what else we should know about Meals on Wheels.
Sure. I mentioned earlier that we talk about Meals on Wheels as more than a meal, and that really does begin with the way that we provide our services and deliver our meals, but it goes so much more beyond that. So we begin with an in-home assessment where we identify what other needs the participant has. And so we're really looking at where is their safety net frayed? And then, you know, what can we do to help secure that? So we have a variety of programs, from companion visitors to pet food delivery to our wellness call program to our hubs program, our grocery shoppers. We have care coordination and case management services for those folks that have more protracted needs. We have a rapid response to client concerns. So we use technology as we're delivering the meals to make an assessment to determine if there's anything that needs to be addressed immediately. That information goes to a dashboard where we can then follow up with our client support team. And it could be a simple referral, or it could be a referral to one of our internal programs or our case manager, who then would pick it up from there and continue to work. So there's a whole myriad of things that we help people do in that area. We can get them connected to SNAP benefits to help them support other needs, other food needs that they have beyond our meals. We can get them connected to transportation services. We can get them connected to partners like HI. We can do, you know, all sorts of work on their behalf. And we are also very grateful for our support from the Associated to support our kosher meal program. We know that Meals on Wheels has support from government funding, but it's about 45% of the cost of what we do. So it doesn't support all of those other more than a meal services that we talk about. So we rely on public support for that.
You know, you both can feel, it's something I say to my folks who work for me every day, and you guys really have this benefit that every day you can go home after work and look in a mirror and get ready to go to sleep and have this real peace of mind that what you're doing is really beneficial and positive and good. So I hope, I'm sure you do. I know how hard you're both working right now, but I hope you realize that in the way you look at the world every day. Not many people in the world have that opportunity, and you both do, and it's really very wonderful. So thank you both for being here today. Take a minute and just give out contact information, both for folks who want to volunteer, folks that need services. How do folks get in touch with each of you? Maybe we should start with Meals on Wheels. How do we reach Meals on Wheels?
Okay, we do everything through our website. So we are mealsonwheelsmd.org. You can give through the website, you can volunteer through the website, you can actually get meals through the website. So if you just remember mealsonwheelsmd.org, and then you can find what you're looking for there.
And if they want to donate, they can go there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very good. Tiffany?
Sure. The best way to get in touch with HI is to contact Lisa Glick, who is our senior intake specialist. And she has everything that you need to know about all of the services that we offer, particularly those for older adults. And she can be reached at 410-500-LIFE. That's 410-500-5433, or our website at highbaltimore.org.
Very good. Thank you so much, Beth.
Yeah, I want to thank you both and just, add on to what Scott said. It's such a great comfort, truthfully, knowing that, that we're there, that our community has such services to back people up. I just want to say, because Stephanie, it sort of surprised me when you said our older adults, 60 and older. And I don't know if Scott sort of grimaced, but I did as well, that I sometimes don't even think of that because I don't think of my friends as being part of this. What is the actual demographic that you serve?
Yeah, so we do serve people 60 and over. We can serve people under 60 if they are homebound due to a disability or a health condition. Our average age of our client is about 75. And what we're seeing more and more of are those that fall in the 80 to 85, 85 to 90 range. We are all living longer, and so we're actually seeing people even who have lived beyond 100. So it really does shoot the gamut, but we do begin at 60.
Tiffany, is that the same for your sort of definition of older adults?
It really depends. Age is a state of mind, I suppose, but no, it varies from program to program. So, the Meyerberg generally starts at about 55, but then our senior living communities are starting at 62. And then kind of go on from there. But yeah, just as Stephanie said, we are seeing the average age seems to be creeping up and up as people are continuing to age in place and live longer. So
I know Scott and I were, both saying that how inspiring it is what you do. Do you have, before we leave, maybe as a closing, since we are called The Upside, we want to hear about the upside. Do either of you have sort of a great story, a great anecdote about a client or something wonderful that's happened that you'd like to share during this time when we need to hear a good story?
Sure. Well, we are so fortunate, as you said, to be able to do the work that we do. And I would just say that everyone, you don't have to do this work to make a difference. You can pick up the phone and check in on your neighbor and your friends and talk with them and make sure that they're doing okay during this time. But we often receive notes, and I received a note from a woman by the name of Minnie, and she basically, the note said that I've read this note several times, so I'm going to try to do it from memory. It said thank you for helping me out during this critical time of my 93rd year of life. During the pandemic, my doctor, because of my health concerns, put me on complete lockdown, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then you all gave me a call. And I am eternally grateful for these meals. And my delivery lady was lovely. So it makes all the difference.
Great. Okay, Tiffany, can you top it?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. So I won't try to top it. In fact, what I'll say is to kind of close out on a positive note is that just a piece of advice to take this. I know that everybody's thinking, oh my gosh, this is so horrible, and all of these things that we're facing, but think about kind of reframe our thinking and think about how this has really highlighted what what older adults need. And so moving forward from the pandemic, now I feel like it kind of spotlighted on older adults, and that hopefully will bring up the interest in serving older adults. And so moving forward from COVID, that we can have the focus on our older adult community, that we can see what we need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen again, so that our older adults are treated with respect and dignity and are receiving the services that they need. So I think that to reframe your thinking and think about this as something that has highlighted older adult services, and hopefully we will move forward from this and do so in a positive direction.
Great, great. I want to thank you both so much for being here and for doing exactly what you've just said, which is highlighting these issues. And hopefully this is one of those learnings and one of those positive outcomes that we can look back on from our COVID-19 days when they are behind us. So thank you again for being here today and for talking to us about the programs that are available. I want to remind everyone in our audience that the Meyerberg Center offers more than 50 live virtual programs for older adults each week, ranging from fitness to art to tech help to the ever popular Bagel Boys. So go to meyerberg.org for a full listing. And then join us again next week, Tuesday, November 24th, for another great conversation. In the meantime, visit associated.org and jmoreliving.com for more information, stories, and resources, and sign up for our weekly newsletter. And until next week, please stay well.